All right, so let's jump right into today's recipe. So we're going to start off with about a cup of milk, and this is a cup of warm milk. You want to make sure your milk is at about 100 degrees, because if it is too hot, it's going to kill the yeast. If it's too cold, it's not going to activate. You want to put a tablespoon of sugar. I'm using white sugar and a pack of yeast, and allow it to activate. So while our yeast is activating, let's go ahead and get our dry ingredients together for the Salara. So I'm going to be using my mixing bowl because I'm going to put this on my stand mixer, but you can go ahead and do this by hand if you wish. You can also do it with a hand mixer. So I'm just going to go ahead and sift out 4 cups of AP flour, all-purpose flour. And to that you want to go ahead and add a 1/4 cup of sugar, a pinch of salt. Then we're going to add about a stick of melted room temperature butter. And then this is completely optional. You're going to add a 1/4 cup of milk powder. I'm using this one, the Carnation. Use whatever milk powder that you do have. Now once that is done, you want to go ahead and set that on your stand mixer. You can do it by hand. Our yeast is proof, guys, so this is what you're looking at, or this is what you want it to look like. So we're going to go ahead and add our yeast into the mixture. And then we're going to slowly start it. We're going to lower that, and then we're going to start this on a low. Now as it goes, you want to go ahead and pour in a little bit of your liquid. And I use warm water until your dough comes together. You're going to just keep adding little by little of your liquid to it. And as you can see, it's starting to pull off from the bottom there. So you want to keep adding this a little bit, not too much. Just gauge it because you want a nice soft dough. And that's how you want to spread it up. Once it's done, you want to get a nice soft dough. It's not going to be all the way. So you want it to be nice and soft because we're going to roll it out a little bit. Now on a clean surface, you want to go ahead and put a little bit of your flour down. And then you want to go ahead and put your dough down. And you want to knead your dough. Not too much, but you just want to build up the elasticity. You know what I mean. In the dough. So you want to keep moving it and pushing it and moving it and pushing it. So you want to keep doing this and rolling it around. Now once you're done, you're going to get a nice smooth dough like this. So you're going to fold it over like this. And then you want to go ahead and put it in a grease bowl. You're going to rub the top with some oil so it doesn't crack. And then you're going to let this sit for about an hour. Now because we're using the instant dry yeast, we don't have to let it proof twice. So we're going to just let it sit for an hour. Okay, so I started off with a frying pan with just about a tablespoon of unsalted butter, in which I added my coconut flakes, and then I added some brown sugar, about a cup of brown sugar. To that, I'm going to add some cinnamon, nutmeg, and allspice, and a little bit of vanilla extract. I'll give the exact measurements in the description box below, and you can always find a shorter version of this recipe on my TikTok at Cooking with Debs. But you're going to go ahead and mix all that in together until it's well incorporated. Okay, once that's nicely mixed in, I'm going to go ahead and add about a cup of milk, and this is going to start my slurry, but you can use water if you want to. I use milk. And then I'm going to go ahead for my coloring. I'm going to add some beet powder. That's going to give it the redness, but it doesn't give it the full red like we're used to in Guyana. So I did go ahead and add a few drops of red food coloring also to that. But beets powder give it such a nice red color, and supposedly it's a lot better than the chemicals in the red food coloring. So just let this cook down. I sprinkle a bit of salt just to balance out everything, and we're done with this for now. Alright guys, it's been about an hour, so we're going to go ahead and punch our dough down. It has doubled in size. So what we want to do is go ahead and split this into 2, because this is going to give me about 2 rolls of my Salara. So you're going to go ahead and just cut it evenly into 2, and then you're going to roll out each side until it's like a square, whatever size or whatever shape that you want to call it. But you're just going to go ahead and roll it into a log, and then get your rolling pin and just pretty much roll in the opposite direction, back and forth until you get the desired shape that you're looking for. And by then our mixture is cool, so we're going to use it now. All right, so once you have your dough nicely rolled out into the desired shape that you're going for and the width that you're going for, you want to go ahead and add your coconut filling on the inside. Now, I always recommend to spread it as close to the corners as you can possibly spread it, because you want to make sure when you cut this, each piece have coconut in it and there's not too many gaps in between that doesn't have coconut, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and just spread this all the way out, and then we'll just go ahead and roll this. And this is pretty easy, guys. It's just like making a cinnamon roll. You just roll it up very tightly, very neatly, very cutesy, and you just, you know, tuck all ends in. So once it's rolled out, I went ahead and I added it to a loaf pan that I sprayed down with avocado oil. You can add it to a sheet tray if you want to. I like to add it to a loaf pan because sometimes it expands and it explodes, and I like to keep the seams intact. But I'm going to pop this in a 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes. All right, so it just came out of the oven. Nice and golden brown. Okay, so we're going to let it cool down before we slice into it, so you can see what it looks like. Let it cool a little bit. Has a few cracks, but that's okay. All right, guys, so here you have it. Here is my final product for my Salara. It's super soft, delicious, and also good. I do hope that you guys have been enjoying my videos. Keep in mind that I am not a classically trained chef. I'm just a mom who loves to cook and love to share her recipes. Leave me a comment down below, like, share, subscribe, and let me know if you guys have something like this in your country, and if you do, what do you call it? Some call it Salara, some call it coconut roll. What do you call it in your country? But again, until next time, I do hope you enjoy. Peace.